Alright, this movie is to review male and female meiosis. So most cells that the human body have are diploid. That means there's 23 pairs of chromosomes, or 46 total, because you have 2 copies of each chromosome. 22 of them are autosomes, and one is a sex chromosome, so you either have XX or XY in a typical situation. However, germ cells, like depicted here in the seminiferous tubule, are haploid. So they only have 23 chromosomes, so that when they join with the other germ cell, you're going to have 46 total chromosomes. And so they only have 22 autosomes and 1 sex chromosome. And here you can see a seminiferous tubule, primary spermatocyte undergoing meiosis, and a Leydig cell that is in the interstitium, which is diploid. All right, and just for review, for the steps of basically mitosis, the chromosomes are going to line up, the homologous chromosomes, and then they're going to duplicate. And then in the situation of mitosis, you have help from the centrioles. We're organizing and pulling apart the chromosomes so that half of the chromosomes go into one daughter cell and the other half is going to go into the other daughter cell. And so you end up with 2 cells that are identical to the parent cell that you can see here. But meiosis is different. There's 2 different phases in meiosis. There's a meiosis 1 and 2. But the pairing begins at the beginning, just like it did in mitosis. You can see that happen here. And then you get some crossing over of the chromosomes, or parts of the chromosomes. And that is really important and different from mitosis. And so you have this crossover of these fragments, and so eventually the daughter cells are not going to be just like the parent cell, and so you see that here. So, but when this cell is going to pull apart chromosomes, only half of the chromosomes, although they duplicated, they didn't separate, so half of the chromosomes is going to go into one cell, and the other half of the chromosomes are going to go into another cell. And so these cells, at the result of meiosis 1, are haploid. So meiosis 1 has crossover, and it produces haploid cells. Meiosis 2 is only unique because the sister chromatids that were still attached separate from each other, and then they go into the daughter cells. And so in the male, you end up having 1 spermatogonia, which you can see here, depicted here, is going to undergo meiosis 1 and create 2 primary spermatocytes, which is going to undergo meiosis 2 and create 2 more secondary spermatocytes. So 1 spermatogonia results in 4 spermatids. And so these are the steps along the way. So a primary spermatocyte is going to be the cell that is going to undergo meiosis 1, and a secondary spermatocyte is going to be a cell that is going to undergo meiosis 2. In a female, it's different. We talk histologically about the development of a follicle, which is the maturation of an oocyte to the point that it finishes meiosis 1. So a mature or Graafian follicle is all of these stages that you've learned in histology it's just bringing this oocyte to finish meiosis 1. And so to summarize for the female, a primary oocyte, which is all of the steps here before it is going to reach this point, where it is secondary oocyte, it doesn't actually follow the alignment of follicular development, because at this point you have the end of follicular development, so you have a mature follicle or a Graafian follicle, but you only have finished meiosis 1. The mature follicle will only finish meiosis 2 if it is fertilized, and so that's sort of unique about female meiosis. And the other unique property of meiosis in the female is that separation of the chromosomes to create haploid cells creates a haploid cell that is going to undergo, going to continue to mature, and one cell essentially that doesn't receive any cytoplasm, and this is called a polar body. And so this polar body is non-functional. It's not going to undergo meiosis II and is going to degenerate. And the same thing as the secondary oocyte is going to undergo meiosis II. Eventually, if fertilization occurs, you will get a second polar body, which is non-functional. So one oocyte is going to result in only one ovum that can be fertilized.